Season 6 is hurtling towards us at a speed of knots, and everyone is getting their ducks in a row, organising their club ahead of what should be a massive season for so many of you guys. A lot of you guys moving into your second season, and there's a few veterans in the community, of course, that have been around the block once or twice already. But for me, I've been through a little bit of a moneyball kind of situation over this transfer window, taking some guys that, where we're loaning out, we're bringing in some MFL, but scrunching them up, getting them into the market, recouping some funds, and redeploying them into some proper upgrades into the team. I'll show you what I've been up to in the transfer window to set up Season 6, as well as how the community team is looking right now for all the channel members that are going to be loaning players in to get their own slice of some stone MFL just for being a channel member, as well as my academy lineup. I think that's pretty solid. There's not really much to talk about on that in terms of updates, but we'll have a look at it already, because no matter where you are on your MFL journey in terms of pruning your club, building your club up, whatever it might be, this will be a strategy point. This will be an exercise that you'll need to take yourself down at some point, and it's good to have that kind of, real world club approach to it. When you're buying a player, what is the potential resale value here? If they do progress, what can we actually do with them? And if they were to stagnate and not progress, could we get out of these different players? So some fun stuff to chat about, of course, at any point in the video. If you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. If you are brand new to MFL and you haven't even opened up your account yet, there's a link in the description of this video that'll get you the best beginner bonuses available. If you are brand new, there's a bunch of beginner tutorials and guides linked in the description of this video so you can get properly up to speed. But yeah, feel free to enjoy this video, of course. Get into the comment section if you get stuck. I'll come and help you out, all that good stuff, of course. But yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it, because Season 5 ended in heartbreak. We lost our playoff match 1-0 against the Tuscan Tornadoes after finishing just about third, despite being projected for 7th at the beginning of the season. We really did push above our weight. We really did excel as the season went on, and even though not all the results went our way all of the time, by the time all games were played, we just about managed to get ahead of Nexus Sensei here into third, and sadly the playoffs didn't go for us. But we loaned out a star player, and we still had some holes in the squad that we had to make some difficult compromises. Suspensions really held me back at times as well, and the squad wasn't quite as well rounded as I would have hoped as the season started to actually unfold. Now, I was always going to be bringing, or I don't know if I was always going to be bringing, but I feel like I should be bringing, and I will be bringing back Hamada Nasser back into the squad after playing in silver for a season and seeing zero progression despite kicking ass and taking names at that level. I'm not too convinced Hamada Nasser's got much more than a +1 in him. He is now 28, should be peak years or give or take, so maybe there'll be a wee bit of proof in the pudding. We'll see any acceleration from him this year. As well as Johan Klein, who I signed last year but was already on a contract, and I didn't try and cancel it because I didn't actually have a right winger positional need. He was more of an advanced signing because I'd also packed a player who was a left winger who I'd loaned out this year, so the idea was I would be gaining a brand new front three coming into this season, whether I gain promotion or not. And with those two guys alongside Harry Livingston here, who we packed last year, who we sent out on loan, who scored some really good goals, didn't actually get any progression. It's a nice alternate angle tactically to be able to have wingers now all of a sudden, and having that extra firepower in Hamada Nasser should just push the envelope, as it were. What I didn't account for was my reward pack breeding another striker, and I use the word breeding deliberately. We've got Hamada Nasser reaching peak years at 28, we've got Lecoq around the 24 mark, and now we've got Jorn Hansen, the 19-year-old German forward here, who's got some beautiful stats. He's marginally better on statistics than Lecoq, so he comes into the fold and really just solidifies the fact that we are going out guns blazing to attack this year. And it really does mean, for all things being equal, I don't need any more firepower coming into the squad, which is brilliant, because I did feel that Konrad Florek was probably, stayed one season too long at FC Barcelona. A 71 rated goalkeeper is not really much use as backup for Iron, the division I'm in. So we sold him. He's been picked up by one of the agencies out there. And, good luck to him. Sadly, didn't really get that much progression with me. Went from 70 to 71. Was a great keeper. We love Polish goalies at FC Barcelona, and we wish we Konrad all the best going forward, but his time was up with the club, really. We sold him for $20, as well as a card we got out of a reward pack, Ralph Barr. Now, this guy doesn't make the academy team, and I didn't really see much point in loaning him out for some Spark MFL. So selling him for $15 on top of the $20 that we'd sold Florek for, surprisingly, gave us enough budget that I could go out and spend $30 on Jairo Corrales. Now, he is set to retire at the age of 34, which will be at the end of Season 7. So I've spent 30 quid to basically upgrade Florek to being 79 rated, or maybe goes to 80, who knows? Unlikely. For the next 2 seasons. This year he'll be my backup goalkeeper, and I'm crossing my fingers that I get promoted, and then next season at 79 rated he'll definitely be capable of being my backup keeper to Homan, and then at that point it will be a problem I'll need to solve further down the line. But for $30 right now, and essentially for the cost of my previous backup keeper, who, when you take away fees and all the rest of it, I've not actually really made much money on that trade. Bar, of course, is a first owner situation, so that's a clean $15 into the kitty, as it were. I just feel that that was fantastic business. We then had Christoph Will leave the club for $20 after buying him for 17. So again, not much of a margin to be made there, but liquid, I guess, is a valuable attribute in this game. We managed to sell Santiago Castaño. Some of you guys might have forgotten about him. He left the club for $20, I'm sure, as well, and again with fees and everything, basically break even. And we then went on to sell Marlon Poveda. Now I actually had a wee bit of hope that I would have sold this guy for a pretty penny for quite a nice profit, but I never got any interest in him at all for actually buying him when he was listed at slightly higher amounts. With 81 pace, 70 dribbling, 72 shooting, 71 passing, for 65 rated, I thought this guy would gain a lot of attention, would attract a lot of suitors. We did only pick him up for 14 quid, so ROI percentage wise, he's probably the best trade that we've got here. That brings us up to 60, and we had 5 left over from the Bar and the Florex situation. And then we sold Liam Mooney to get us to the $85 mark. This was a legend of the club. We sent him out on loan last year. He did very, very well. We've actually lost a tiny bit of money on Liam Mooney, but for his service at the club, he didn't really have much progression. But throughout Ice, Stone, and initially in Iron, he kind of had a game or two, but it didn't really cut it for him. He's not quite good enough. He was a great servant to the club, will be remembered as an icon. And then with that $85 budget, I went out and picked up Vít Miraz. Now, Vít Miraz is 28, so again, similar to the other players I've been buying in recent seasons, circa prime age. Is a little bit better than Faustino. In the main area, he's like a tiny bit quicker. They've got the same defence. He's actually worse for dribbling, shooting and passing than Faustino, by the way. But his physical is 71, and Faustino's physical is like 58 or something like that. So it's a real strengthening at centre-back. And between them two and Wagner, I feel like I can rotate all 3 of them and kind of be happy with any combination of the two. And I wasn't really feeling that with Ivanov. He definitely felt like, he was probably more well-rounded than Faustino was, but whenever I play, he didn't even really play bad. I don't want to speak ill of him. At 27, he could still get better. I had small hopes I could have got him at 74 this year, and that would have made me confident because we got him up to the 73 mark from 72. And if we got him at 74, I might have been a bit more hopeful he could have broke through that 75 barrier. But now that we had Miraz, it meant we could sell Ivanov, and we sold Ivanov for $35, which, against fees and stuff, maybe the uplift isn't that great, but it was nice to sell him for the most amount that we've sold anyone for so far in this window. With relative ease, he wasn't on the market very long, and I have never received so much interest in a loan player as I have for Florian Massa. We had him dangling out there available so people could see his attributes and his value and see that they could buy him as well. And eventually, we did get someone to buy him, Twizzlers. I had this guy up for so expensive because his statistics, 81 pace, 84 shooting, is wild. I paid $39 for him. We managed to sell him for $55, which I think is a pretty good uplift, all things considering. But again, for a 72 rated striker, I think his pace and shooting, sorry, I had that the wrong way around, 87 pace, 81 shooting. And the physical and the dribbling are good enough for a lot of levels. Absolutely tore the place apart in Ice last year on loan, and that was some nice profit to make. And that meant I could go and get my final upgrade, my final recruit, Joan Albercucu. Now, Albercucu is 29 years of age, but his stats are just absolutely sweet. I can play this guy as any type of CM that I want to. His defence is 80. He's got 70 plus shooting, which is something I really care about at the moment. Great passing for a CM at 81. Pace and dribbling on the upper end of above average, or, above average certainly. The physical does let him down. But at 29, having only birthed in at 24, he's that extra 20% they get after their prime age, that's maybe still to be gotten. Could we get him to be a 79? Could he maybe jump to being an 80 or something in over the next 2 seasons? Who knows? But at $73, I thought he represented very good quality. And for a player that was already a free agent, which is an important detail at this part of the transfer window, I didn't want to buy anyone without the knowledge of knowing I'd be able to contract them in for this year. The age is something that we maybe need to accept we're not going to get years and years out of him, but certainly we'll be getting the next 3 at an absolute minimum. And I've still got a wee balance of $12.75. So in this transfer window, FC Barcelona has cut a profit. We've actually upgraded our squad with Albert Cuckoo, who comes in at 78 to be one of the top rated players in the squad. Jairo Corrales, and finding that on the live stream was a lot of fun for all you guys that joined it. Thanks very much, of course. And Vít Maraz. On top of that new front line that we brought in, and on top of the midfielders that we used last year, it just feels like FC Barcelona, we are gunning for the top. We are going to be shooting high. I'm toying with lots of different tactics right now for all the players that I've got, and my best 16 has just never been better, quite simply. And I've got a nice underbelly of mainly first owner cards that are like the backup, the real desperate rotation. But I think I've got just about enough quality here where I won't need the desperate rotation. But I'm going to hang on to these guys throughout the first half of the season. And once we get to the halfway point, I might loan these guys into the academy, into the market in general, or something like that. But I want to be bases covered for as many of these positions, for as many different tactical situations in the first half of the season as possible, because I am targeting the top of my division. I am targeting cup success, and for that I'm going to need all hands on deck. So in goals, we're at 81 and 79, which is very, very nice to see. And in defence, our main defence is all the blue guys now. We've also got Casas, Trejo, who played last year, Wagner the legend, and now the new boy Vít Maraz. And then having backup left back and right back, they're both really good guys, and Faustino, as we know, could be first 11. He gets a +1 at centre back, Faustino, in case you're wondering. And in midfield, we've got enough top end quality with Hanka the Tanka, Big Jerry, Issa Vande, Albert Cuckoo, and Zatko. That there's combinations. We can probably just about rotate those 5 guys across different midfields and keep them all fit and firing. But like I say, I want these green guys in just for a bit of cover, just for a wee bit of an insurance policy in case we need them. And then up front, 3 strikers of absolute death, Lecoq, Nasser, and Jorna Hansen. And then now we've got 2 wingers, so we can be flexible with the shape, Klein and Livingston. And if we look at it in terms of shooting, last year it was only Lecoq and Vande that had 70 plus shooting in the squad. Gruchowski did, but he wasn't in the squad for very long, obviously, before we loaned him out. He's back in for a second shot in the rotation. But now, obviously, we've got Nasser. We packed the Hansen, which is nice. But bringing in Livingston and Klein, the wingers, at 77 shooting and 75 shooting, and Albert Cuckoo, who's got 71 shooting, it just feels like the team now should be scoring a hell of a lot more goals. If we look at pace, Maraz at 84 pace, again, a wee bit faster than Faustino here. Klein at 85 in the front line as well, because again, Klein is the fastest guy that can play in the front line that I've got in the team. He's faster than Nasser, he's faster than every other forward line, even other winger. So that's a bit more pace in the front line that I've not had before. And then in terms of the defensive rankings, you can see Kubo, the backup guy, who's like 69, but he's got 81 defending. So he's just in there as like, can you just maybe play CDM one time or something? I don't know. Maraz, Ivanov's defending, the other centre-back we had in the rotation was like 78 or something like that. That's 81. That's amazing to see. And Albert Cuckoo again in midfield with 80 defence is wild. And that's been a lot of fun. The foundation team is taking shape, guys. We still need a few gaps to be filled here. We've still got a lot of rev share to give away to you guys, the channel members. We've currently given away 62%. Now, I need to get 2% back from this, from Storch. I might just do this now while I remember. We're going to do request contract cancellation. We need to redo that one without the match tab, without the match stipulation, because that takes away rev share that I can't give to other channel members. So we've got 60% to give, we've got 40%, I beg your pardon, still to give away. We've got 11 player slots left. If you're a member and you've got any player available for loan, let me know. Obviously, we want to make the best 11, the best 15, 16 as strong as we can to make sure the team's competitive and earns as much MFL as possible. But if you're a member, throw in your 64 guy, throw in your 58 guy. If we can squeeze them in, I want them in. I want you to get something back for your season ticket and for supporting the foundation squad here on MFL. But it's taking some shape. We do have some quality. We need a bit more. We need a CM with a bit of defensive nous. We also need defensive depth. We don't have any of that. We have enough, I think, just about midfield depth, especially if we do get a defensive-minded centre mid. We need a left winger, and we probably need some other double winger, somebody that can play left and right perhaps as well. Last year the Ravens were flying high, guys. We finished in 4th, and I would love to think that we could go on and do another season like this, but right now the way the squad's standing, it's not even full up yet. It's hard to imagine we're going to do that. We want this team to fly high. We want the Ravens to kick ass and take names. You guys are going to get all the rev share for it, so if you haven't done so already, leave a comment in this video, reach out to me through any of the channel channel member posts on the YouTube channel, the Telegram group that we're all in, and let me know what players you can get into the squad here. We've got good depth in striker and for most of the midfield spots, but we need backup defence, we need the empty spots filled, of course, and we need a CM that can defend. CDM would be fine. So the academy team, I actually forgot I left it set like this, but I've seen a lot of people have been doing friendlies against us. I wonder how that shape's been doing. That shape's actually been doing none too bad, by the way. Maybe we'll mix it up a wee bit and we'll watch what other friendlies come our way. I think this should be the strongest team, so let's see if we can get a wee bit of flexing on this, see if we can see if in the friendlies it holds up just as good as the last shape there that we had. By the way, that reminds me, I've not got a league yet. If you haven't done this already, if you are brand new, make sure you go onto the competitions tab and actually register for the season. You need to do that. So make sure it says registered, make sure you've got all your teams, how many of them you've got, 1, 2, 5, 10, whatever. Make sure you get them all registered and get them ready to go, otherwise you'll miss the season accidentally. But like I've said in previous content, I really feel that my journey, my evolution on the game now, I'm not really looking at my HQ as an agency anymore. I'm looking at it more as like a club network. We've got our first team players at FC Barcelona. We've then got our academy players, the ones that aren't good enough, that are in a different division. Can we bring any of those academy players into the first team? And then what first team players do we drop into the academy? We've got a few guys left out on loan we've not quite dealt with yet, and a bunch of guys in Dev Centre. But I think for where I'm at right now, this is much more of a multi-club operation rather than an agency, as it were. So I think I'm aiming to earn more MFL this year than I did last year. And the main way I'm going to do that is by trying to win the league with FC Barcelona Prime, having a cup run to make up for any deficit or any shortfall I have from missing loan revenue. And then of course I've got FC Barcelona trying to the academy team trying to match, if not surpass, a lot of the Spark loans and the Ice loans that I had last year as well. And at the end of season 6 it'll be really interesting to compare the amount of MFL I've generated with the same group of players essentially. You might even say a smaller group with the amount of people I've been selling and consolidating into players I'm using, rather than, I suppose, the using part. I get MFL for that, don't I? But you know what I'm saying. It'll be interesting to compare. Oh, look, somebody's played us in a friendly right away. How funny is that? Luke Fleming scores just as we click on. I wonder if it was a banger. Tolentino, what a ball, switches it across. Grant reclaims it. There's Fleming, scores bangers. Oh, he takes it in, dribbles the keeper. Love a bit of that. But don't forget, guys, the season starts this Wednesday. That's when it's match day 1. You better have your squad in place. You better have your tactics on point. If you're looking for some tactics content, if you're a channel member, we did MFL Tactics 101 at the beginning, coming into season 5. We're going to do a season 6 edition on the channel this week. So if you're a channel member, make sure to turn on your notifications and watch out for that, because we'll go live and we'll break down some of the changes, some of the differences that we're maybe seeing, that what we need to do tactically on MFL coming into season 6. On screen there now some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. If you want to become a channel member, all you need to do is click the join button that's below me the now on screen. It's £1 a week, £4 a month. We've got tons of perks and content and different bits and pieces, giveaway stuff for all the channel members. If you're looking for more details, just jump into one of the live streams and we'll go through it all. I hope you enjoyed this one. Like, subscribe, share and retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble and I'll catch you on the next one.